I had to guess, you are potentially likely sitting there right now listening to this with this running list of everything that you need to do before the Faire summer market kicks off. You might have to add more products, update your brand imagery, your product listings, send campaign emails, find new retailers, pitch new retailers, post more on Instagram. The list really continues to go on. And all of that is important, but there is a new marketing opportunity on the Faire platform that either most brands are not using yet or don't even know that it exists. So I felt like this would be the perfect topic, the perfect timing. Because if you're listening to this in real time, we're maybe 5-6 weeks on my calendar in front of me, but we're about 5 weeks away from the Faire summer market. And this is a marketing activity that you can do that will not only help you for Faire market, but much beyond that. It's sitting there right now and can do some serious heavy lifting for you. And I want you to be able to walk away from this chat today with a really clear picture of exactly what it is, exactly why it matters going into market and beyond, and with a plan for how you can get it all set up. And I'm going to tell you up front that this episode is not a full-blown training. I'm going to give you the foundation, but I'm going to actually dive into this and do a brand new training inside the Faire Bootcamp in July. So I'm really saving the whole strategy for that. But this episode is everything that you need to know right now about email automations on the Faire platform. Okay, so let's grab your pen and get into the chat. Real quick before we jump in, if you're pitching retailers but second guessing what to say, when to say it, or how to follow up without feeling like you're being totally annoying, you need the Buyer Side Pitch Kit. It arms you with everything you need to confidently pitch all types of retailers, from independent boutiques to mid-size to big box stores, because yes, they all expect something a bit different and at different times. You're going to get the Buyer Side Pitch Pal, which is your own AI pitch assistant trained by me, a seasoned corporate and independent retail buyer, to write your pitch and follow-up emails for you in your unique brand voice. Plus, you're going to get an entire kit of buyer back strategies, perfectly timed pitch plans, and plug and play email templates that sound just like your brand, but maybe just a bit more polished and a bit more persuasive. You're also going to get 2 awesome bonuses, the follow-up formula and a pitch cadence calendar, so you can map out exactly what to send and when to send it and when to follow up. The Buyer Side Pitch Kit will absolutely make pitching so much easier for you. And the best part, it's not even $100. So just hit the link in the show notes or DM me Pitch Kit on Instagram at Kristen Fisher Coaching, and I will send it your way. All right, now let's get into the chat. All right, so let's start at the beginning. So Faire email automations are exactly what they sound like. Emails that automatically get sent without you having to hit send, right? Or having to plan it out week by week or month by month whenever you're doing your marketing campaigns, right? These email automations are based on specific actions or milestones that a retailer hits in their relationship with you, with your brand, okay? Now, this is something that's new in 2026. They started testing it out towards the beginning of the year. I think it was like late Q1, and then rolled it out to everyone. And I was kind of waiting to see how it was shaking out before really talking on it. But from the second that I found out that they were doing this, I was so excited because this is massive game-changing opportunity for you in your brand, particularly for those that are super busy, which is every single one of you, right? Or you're not as comfortable with doing email marketing. This is something you don't even have to think about. You can just turn it on and set it and forget it. Okay. So first things first, where can you find this in your platform? In your Faire brand portal, you go to the marketing tab, look for this section that says automations, and it's right there. Okay. So everything that you need is right there. Faire has actually built out a set of pre-written email templates for you. Right now, there are 6 of them, and each one is tied to a specific trigger. So
They aren't the fanciest email scripts, but they get the job done and you don't have to do a whole lot of tweaking to them for them to work. With that said, if you're in the Faire Bootcamp, I'm going to give you some more templates and some more tips on how to make these really sound like your brand and be more engaging. But what's in the Faire Automations platform, or I'm sorry, Automations tab is all you really need for the basics. Okay. So these 6 emails, the different triggers, they are just really game changer for wholesale because this hasn't existed yet and it's been a big miss. So for retailer places their first order with you, an automation can fire. A retailer hasn't ordered in 60 days, an automation can fire. They just hit their 5th order with your brand. An automation can acknowledge that milestone, right? So there were some automations you could do before, but they were really limited. Now you can go in and customize the subject line and the copy so that it actually sounds like your brand. You can hit save, turn it on, and Faire handles the sending from there, okay? Once that's on, you don't have to do anything. It just will continue running and it just goes, right? Just like a normal automation. So Faire sends all of their automations at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time every day. So they're consistently landing in inboxes at a reasonable time. That was a question that I was really curious about because at first I was like, well, if a retailer places an order, are they going to get, let's say they do it at like 2 a.m., right? I've been known to have late night working sessions. Am I going to get this random email automation in the middle of the night that I'm not going to see? No, Faire has automated at a specific time so that it's consistent and reasonable. Okay. And here's something that's worth knowing at the beginning of the conversation. You can go in and edit your automations at any time. You can turn them off, update the copy if something just feels like out of date or stale. You can check on your performance data, and based on that, you can make some adjustments. Just like if you're using Klaviyo for your D2C email marketing or even your wholesale email marketing, you can make adjustments within the Faire platform, okay? You can take a look on your performance data. There's a bunch of options in there. As always, the Faire data isn't the most robust, but you do get some information to help you make decisions and make adjustments to your own marketing and targeting. So you can see like how many emails delivered, your average click rate, revenue generated now ties into these emails. So it's all really awesome. And all that's in that automations dashboard that I was mentioning. So here are the 6 templates or automations rather that currently exist. Okay. 1, I'm going to look at my notes here because I want to make sure I don't miss any of these. Okay. 1 is a new customer welcome email. There's so much opportunity inside that email that you can really tell them about your brand. Like think about how you leverage e-commerce welcome sequences. Do the same for wholesale welcome emails. Okay. The second one is a sign up offer reminder for your Faire direct leads. The third one is really 3. There's 60, 90, and 120 day reorder check-ins. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. This is amazing. This takes so much off of your plate for you to stay relevant and top of mind with those retailers. Okay. 4 is a bring back customers email for retailers who have not ordered in a year. Also, hallelujah. I worked with clients so many times on, okay, let's export your data. Let's find the retailers that haven't ordered from you in X amount of time. Let's get emails over to them. Now, you don't need to do that, right? Now, you can just turn on these automations. So 60, 90, and 120 day reorder check-ins and the bring back emails. Those are all chef's kiss. Another one is the review request after a first order. What's cool about that is so Faire was already doing that, sending those review requests, but they were coming in right away now, or coming, what's the right way to say that? Landing in the retailer's inbox really soon after the order was placed. Now you can really manage when that's being sent. And I usually recommend to give it a couple of weeks so that the retailer gets the product, they actually get it on the floor, get it up on the website, see some sales and know the customer's appetite, but it's not too far past that they've forgotten about it. Okay. Little side note there. And then the 6th one is a milestone appreciation for the 5th order and the 1-year reorder anniversary. How cool is that? So there's 6 templates, all trigger based. You can customize them entirely, and they're all just right in that marketing tab. So here's where I really need you to pay attention, because this is honestly, I think that this is the piece that was a big unlock finally, and something that I want you to think about with your email marketing strategy. So also, a lot of brands don't know this. Okay. Faire has limits on how much direct outreach you can do on the platform. So a lot of brands that come into the Faire Bootcamp, they're sending emails and not really realizing that a lot of the marketing emails that they're sending are not even landing in the retailers' inboxes, because there's a limit on them. So there's a cap on how many campaigns, meaning like marketing campaigns in emails, and also direct messages that you can send. Okay. So if you've been on Faire for a while, you know this, and you might have some workarounds. There are some little workarounds that you can do. I'm not going to say it on here because they're not really supposed to be a thing, but you can either manage that really carefully, like you're likely doing, or you've just bumped up against that threshold and you had to hold off, which is really annoying and frustrating when you want to send more emails, especially as Faire has gotten more sophisticated with the ability for you to segment your retailers, your email lists. Like you can do more now, but you're capped out at your email campaigns. One thing that I'll note on here, so I haven't really talked about this a whole lot, but last year I worked with Faire, the Faire team, in like Q3 and Q4 over the course of about 6 months to pull together this kind of pilot program that started in Q1 of this year of industry experts, where Faire is giving us inside scoop, inside information, data, things that we can bring to you guys to share with you, and also giving us a voice and a voice to be able to take your feedback and insights and frustrations and challenges, and also wins and things you're liking or things that you'd love to see, directly to them. So I always was able to circumvent and kind of get some answers or get some information over to the team the last couple of years, but now there's a more formal way to do that, and it's been really cool to be a part of this little test group and just kind of see it come to life, and to be able to tag team and learn from the other industry experts that are in this small group. So that was a little rant, but as of mid-May, when I'm recording this, literally I just had the Q2 call with them, and they shared that the email limits used to start at the date and time where you sent your marketing email. So let's say you sent an email on Wednesday morning, your limit wouldn't reset until the following Wednesday at that same time. Okay. Now Faire has changed it so that your campaign threshold send timing, right, is Monday to Sunday at a fixed time frame. So that means you could send a marketing email on a Thursday and a Monday, right? You can tag team those, right? And be a little bit more strategic about when you're sending, so you can get more emails being sent at a closer range. Okay. If you are being more aggressive with your emails, which you should be. Okay. So that's a little side note. Back to my whole point here that I really want to hone in on for this is there are limits to email marketing campaigns with this new Monday through Sunday fixed time frame. Okay. But with email automations, these do not count against those limits. They're completely separate. So they operate on their own different track, if you will. So you could be at your campaign limit for the week. You could have maxed out those, email sends, but your automations are still running and they're still landing in your retailer inboxes and in the ones that are the most important, because you're always trying to get reorders, right? So these emails are hitting those retailers that are your top opportunity, your hottest leads. They're still getting emails. They're still creating touch points with those buyers that have already raised their hand and said, I'm interested in this brand, right? Without you having to spend a single outreach credit, we'll call it, on those retailers. They're already just getting check-ins from you. It's a really big deal. And I want you to sit with that for a second and just think about it in the context of market season. right? Like you're not going to have to do as much heavy lifting if you have these automations already going. Okay. Especially on the back end of it, when you are bringing in new retailers for market and it's like, oh, awesome. I did all this work on getting new retailers in. I don't have to spend as much energy on the follow up because I feel really good about what's happening on the back end after they've placed an order. You know that you're still having those touch points going out on behalf of your brand. Something I didn't mention also is that which I learned this on this May call with the team, is that if a retailer has opted out of brand marketing emails, which they can do, if they've opted out of that, they will still receive these automations because they're more specific and unique to that relationship building versus marketing emails. Okay. So that's an important thing to note as well, and why it furthers the importance of setting these up. So as we think about market season, what we know from watching buyer behaviors on Faire over the last couple of years with market as it's continued to get bigger and bigger is that we know buyers are not starting fresh on the first day of market week. I mean, this really has nothing to do with Faire, quite frankly. This is just buyers in general. I would spend weeks leading up to a trade show, or, when I was buying for my own brand on Faire, I would spend the weeks leading up to it getting my budget figured out and figuring out what brands I was interested in and new product opportunities and categories I needed to tap into and research. Okay. So buyers are building their carts for weeks. Like I said, they've been browsing, favoriting. I always loved the favorite tool, and I could create little mini, I'll call them Pinterest boards that were hidden and unique to me, where I could just create my collection on the back end. And I would review my sell-throughs from the last season. I would take a look at where my opportunities were, thinking about the upcoming season. So for summer market, you're buying fall and pre-ordering holiday. So they're spending a lot of time doing that. And then by the time market actually opens, a lot of buyers, especially more established ones, already have a really good sense of what they're going to buy, who they're placing orders with. They might just leave some room open for, oh, this brand had a bigger discount than I expected. I'm going to buy a little bit more from them, or just some research where they'll wait till market happens and actually spend some dedicated time before placing buys to actually look for new product, right? But going into it, they already really know what they want. So it's really critical that you're in their head, on their radar before that moment actually happens. And that's really why the automations can do their best work, because they're reaching your warm retailers, your lapsed retailers, your new retailers at the exact right moments without you having to manually orchestrate every single touch point when you're also trying to run your business and, maybe enjoy some summer on top of it, right? So that's something I really want you to think about. I mean, I'm such a big believer in your business needs to have systems working for you. And I know a lot of the frustration that brands have about the platform is connecting with retailers, finding new retailers. How do I get the algorithm working for me? The list goes on. But this is one of the best examples of how to have Faire work for you. A lot of brands are just not using it because it's new, because you don't have time to learn all the new things, right? But I'm telling you, this will be worth your efforts, worth its weight in gold to spend some time doing this. And if this is all you have time to do before summer market, this and getting your new products up, that is a huge win. And we need to start normalizing not being perfect with everything, right? I have the 6-week market prep planner built out, a full list of everything you need, the checklist, breaking it down, the timeline, everything you would need. And so if you just feel like I'm so overwhelmed with all the tasks, you need it all in one place, you should definitely grab that. I'll put the link in the show notes. It's free. It's super easy to use, and you can customize it to fit your unique business, but it'll just keep your head on straight a little bit. Okay. So let's just talk a little bit about email automations and why this is so incredibly impactful and important for your business. And also just thinking about it outside of wholesale as well, right? Which is typically where you've likely thought about it before. So, according to some research from OmniSend and Litmus, automated emails drove 37% of all email generated sales in 2025. 37%. Okay. From emails that made up only 2% of total email volume. So think about that ratio for a second. 2% of all the emails being sent are responsible for more than a third of revenue those emails are generating. That's a really wildly disproportionate return and amazing. I mean, if you listen to any marketing strategist that specializes in email marketing, you've heard it time and time again that email marketing yields a return. So it's a no-brainer that you should be focusing your efforts on email marketing for wholesale as well as D2C. Okay. The reason is really simple for why there are this level of results. Automated emails are triggered by behaviors, right? You're not blasting somebody on a Tuesday just because you scheduled something and you thought that's when they were going to open the email, right? They fire at the right moment for the right customer, or in our conversation, in this case, the right retailer, based on what they are actually doing or haven't done, right? And that relevance is what drives the performance. Automated emails achieve an average open rate of over 42%. Average. Okay, so you could far exceed that. So if you think about, if you have an average open rate of, let's say 50%, that's amazing. Your automated emails are likely 60%. They're going to be significantly better than your general marketing emails. Okay. So let's just say like maybe your average standard email marketing campaign might pull 25 to 30% of an open rate. These automated emails are likely at that 42% average open rate. Okay. That's a big difference. Okay. It's a big gap. The one that really gets me when I was doing some research for this, according to OmniSend's data, 1 in 3 people who click on an automated email go on to make a purchase. Now, this is based on e-commerce behavior, not wholesale behavior. Okay. So let me say that again. 1 in 3 people who click on an automated email go on to make a purchase. But when you look at a scheduled like marketing email, broadcast email campaign, it's closer to 1 in 18. 1 in 18. So that difference is almost entirely explained by timing and relevance, because the person who's getting that, hey, you left your cart, whatever, we saved it, here's 10% off, right? The person who's getting that, or the person who's getting some type of reminder, let's say, for example, with this wholesale with Faire, they're getting the 90-day reorder check-in email. It's an email to a retailer who has already bought from you, who is in the position where that trigger just fired because it's been 90 days. They're warm, they're primed. They've had 90 days to receive and sell and see results on your product. And they're busy. And they might be like, shit, I really need to reorder the candles from this brand or the card from this brand. And I need to add on this other type of product from that brand or whatever. This is the terrible example, but you get what I'm saying, right? You're already in the back of their mind, but they're just busy. So when they get this email, when bam, it shows up in their inbox at the right moment, at the right time, with the right message, it converts and does a much heavier lift at a different rate than just a marketing email of, hey, we have new notebooks. Hey, we have a new candle scent or fragrance, right? Those are still good emails, are still relevant, but this is different. Okay. So here's another one. So Campaign Monitor's research puts the revenue difference between automated and non-automated emails. This is a wild stat, at 320% more revenue from the automated side. 320% more revenue from automated emails, right? That is crazy. Again, that is an e-commerce stat. So taking that with a grain of salt, retailers aren't buying the same way a customer is. It's very different. However, Faire has set these up based on the wholesale knowledge and buyer behaviors. So you can trust that they're at least leveraging it in a way that makes sense to the context of wholesale. So I hope that you're not like, oh my God, Kristen just added one more thing to my plate. I have so many things to do. Now I have to stop what I'm doing and go do this. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. All I'm trying to do is to help you think about things in your business that can be streamlined and automated so you don't have to continue to have this to-do list piling up to make sales. I have to send a marketing email because I haven't seen sales in a while. So I need to do this in order to get revenue. You can set this up once and let those babies run and just start to bring in revenue for you and keep you top of mind with your retailers. Okay. This is hopefully a conversation to get you really genuinely motivated to look at that to-do list and say, okay, those 3 Instagram posts are going to take me 90 minutes to figure out or to create, even if I'm using ChatGPT or Claude to help me brainstorm it or write the script or whatever. I still have to film it, edit it, write a caption, or, get prompt AI to give me a caption, and then I have to post it and schedule it. And how about you take that 90 minutes and you put those efforts into automations, setting these up. They can run for you far. They can do, what's the word? It can do a much heavier lift for you long term. That's really where I was trying to go with that. So there's 4 automations that I would prioritize for summer market, because you don't need to set up all 6 right now, but there are 4 that I think would be helpful. So hopefully this can help you to reduce the overwhelm and just prioritize what makes sense for your brand and your workload. And if you have someone on your team, give them all 6, and this should be their priority. Okay, so like I said, pick the ones that make the most sense for where you're at, and also just thinking about where your retailer relationships are at right now, especially if you're newer to wholesale. Maybe you don't have a ton of retailers quite yet, or maybe you're doing 6 figures a month and there are certain ones that are much more important to you. Actually, all 6 in that case would be very important for you. So here's the 4 that I'd start with heading into summer market season, or if you're listening to this at a future date, whatever market season's coming up, it still is relevant. So the first one is reorder check-ins. Okay. There are 3 of these, the 60, the 90, and the 120 day. So each one fires automatically when a retailer who previously ordered from you has not placed a new order in that specific time frame. Okay, so a retailer, for example, who bought from you in March, it's now June, it's been 90 days, they haven't ordered, they're going to get an email. No manual effort for you. Going into summer market, these are your warmest leads, because these retailers, they already know you, they already bought from you, and they felt that your product was good enough to put money behind. They just haven't come back yet. Maybe they didn't need the product quite yet. Maybe they bought for Mother's Day and they're just kind of waiting to see what's coming for market before they buy again. Maybe cash flow slowed down. Maybe they got busy, but they're buying for fall now. They're buying for holiday. And whether business is good or bad, they still need to bring in new inventory. They still have money to spend. They might just be spending differently if they have more or less based on how business has been. So they're still looking. So the brands that are top of mind, that are in their inbox, that are on their radar, are the ones that are going to get their buys. Okay. It'll be a good reminder for them. So these well-timed reorder check-ins will land when they're busy and they're already in marketing or market prep. It's the exact nudge that puts you back on their short list and keeps you top of mind. So I would set up at least the 60 and 90-day versions before market. You can hold off on the later one. And if a retailer falls into that window right now, your email will be waiting for them. So I want you to think about what you're going to include in that to keep it relevant for right now. You can edit this, or you can have it be positioned rather in a way to drive them to market. This is what's new coming to market. New products, you can pre-order, whatever the kind of the new thing is that you'd want those retailers to know about, put that in this email and just make a note or a task for yourself or your assistant to update it after market so that it is updated and makes sense afterwards to be something that's more evergreen, or you can have this be a quarterly touch point, quarterly task that you make sure you are editing it. But it's going into market week. This will do a lot of heavy lifting for you. Okay. The second one of the 4 is the bring back customer automation. So this is for retailers who have not ordered in an entire year. Okay. You might be thinking, because I've heard this a lot, if they haven't ordered in a year, are they even worth me reaching out to? Here's my perspective on this. Summer market season is the best moment to reactivate a lapsed buyer because they're already in shopping mode. I mean, any market season is a good time to reactivate, particularly though going into the summer market because they're actively buying for fall and holiday. No matter what, every retailer is buying for fall and holiday because holiday is the biggest quarter for them, just like it's the biggest sales collection for you, right? So once again, if you're showing up in their inbox at the right moment with a compelling email, you already have a real shot at a reorder from them, even if they haven't bought from you in months. Maybe they just earmark you as a fall brand. I had brands like that they made more sense for me these times a year based on the packaging, the aesthetic, the fragrances, the fabrics, whatever. Sometimes it just makes more sense. So I would only buy once a year, right? So you do not want to write those accounts off. Let the automation though make that outreach for you and see what happens. For those top retailers, you should still do an outreach. So pull your retailer data in Faire and identify who you want to do personal emails to. But in addition, have this automation set up. It doesn't hurt to email more than once. Okay. Third, email automation to have set up is the new customer welcome. If you're doing any type of outreach or pitching going into market, and then that retailer places their first order with you, they need to hear from you. They need to hear from you because nothing gives me more of an ick than a really hard pitch and a sell and follow up and, hey, I'm your new bestie. And then I place an order and then I never hear from them again. It's like, oh, you just wanted my money. Cool. Right? You don't want that feeling because I know that you put so much into your retailers, you put so much into your brand and your product and the relationships, but then you get busy and you forget and you're prioritizing getting new brands in. You have to make sure you're nurturing the ones that are already in. So setting up this new customer welcome email will be really, really important for you. And it sets the tone really for the rest of your relationship with them. Okay. In e-commerce, D2C, so Klaviyo benchmarks that welcome emails, again, e-commerce, average a 54% open rate, over 54% of an open rate. So people open the welcome email as one of the most highest performing email types that exists because, again, it lands in the inbox right when they're most interested and engaged with you. So your welcome automation is a really good chance for you to make those buyers feel really good about the decision that they just made. Tell them what to expect from you. Let your brand voice come through. Give them a reason to be really excited that they just invested in your small business because they're also a small business. It's a two-way street, right? You don't want to leave that really key relationship moment on the table with just some generic template. And then the fourth, I would put this last on the priority list for right now, but the fourth one is a milestone appreciation. The reason I put this in here, it doesn't really feel like a sales email, but that's why it works. When a retailer places their fifth order with you or when they've been reordering from you for a full year, an email from them that acknowledges that this relationship is highly valuable to you and appreciated by you. It's like, I see you. I notice that you keep coming back. I'm grateful for that. Like, what is better than a retailer that orders from you over and over and over again? It's literally gold. It's what you want. You want to make sure that you're prioritizing letting them know that, because just because you think it doesn't mean they know it, right? Okay, so I think that it's really underrated. I encourage you to set it up as the fourth thing on the list. Again, not the top priority. I would get those other three in first. So just to recap it, number one, new customer welcome, reorder check-ins, the bring back customers email, and the milestone appreciation would be the four priority for summer market that I would recommend you set up. Okay, so that's really where I recommend spending some of that time for you as a really good marketing effort, marketing use of time. Now, I want you to think about, as you're setting these up, I've already alluded to this, but I want you to really make sure, go ahead, take those Faire templates, but I want you to make sure you're putting it in your brand voice. Don't put them in ChatGPT and just copy paste that either, because that's also not your brand voice. That's AI's version of what Faire gave, and then just put your brand name and product in there. You don't want to do that. You really want it to sound like you wrote it. These are not big emails. They're not lengthy. They're not hard to write. You might need to use the template, put it in AI and give some suggestions, but really make it sound like you put a little bit of effort into these, because they will pay you back. If you listen to any of those stats I just gave you, they will pay you back, right? So think about Faire automations the same way you think about an actual email campaign that you send. That same energy that you put into it, that same standard of writing, right? These are landing in those retailers' inboxes with your brand name on it, and you're competing with every other brand, right? That's also trying to capture the buyer's attention during this heavily marketed time period going into market season. So you don't want a generic reorder check-in. That's going to get deleted immediately. Hey, we noticed it's been a while since your last order. Immediate delete, right? But if I got an email that was really well crafted and brand forward, that felt specific and warm and timely, I'm going to click that. Okay. That's how you can get these automations really working for you. Okay. So really looking at the subject line, thinking about what the content is. What would you want to actually open up in your inbox when you're extremely busy? What's going to get you excited, right? That is the same type of energy you have to bring to these, and also keeping them timely and relevant, and going back and updating them later, because these can do a lot of heavy lifting for you. And remember, again, if a retailer has unsubscribed from marketing emails from Faire, they're still going to get these. So this is a sneaky way to market to them without doing any bad practices. Okay. So if you're inside the Faire Bootcamp in July, I'm going to be doing a really deep dive training on these automations. So that will be coming in July for you inside the bootcamp. And if you are in the bootcamp back pocket, we're going to do this live. So we're going to talk about it live in our July masterclass, and you'll be able to get real feedback on yours. So you're going to have the opportunity to ask questions and all that. So stay tuned on that if you are already in that world. If you're not yet and you're interested in the Faire Bootcamp, just head to kristenfishercoaching.com/Faire Bootcamp, or the links below in the show notes, and come join us. You'll get access to that. You can add on the membership at checkout, and you can come in and have that access to me, get feedback from me on your automations, in addition to Faire audits. And we have coffee chats. We have all kinds of amazing trainings and resources, and just a really cool community of other brand owners in there that have gone through the Faire Bootcamp. So it's a really special little spot of the internet that I just love so much. Okay, so the takeaway for today: you have a marketing channel available to you right now on Faire that does not cost you any campaign sends. It does not count against your messaging limits, right? And it works for you in the background without any additional effort for you once you've set it up. Super important. Your time is the most valuable resource that you have. So heading into a season where your time and attention are more limited, but it's also kicking off the biggest revenue season for you, think about what's going to do the heaviest lifting. And this is one of those marketing tasks that will pay off tenfold for you. Okay. The brands that really win most consistently during market season aren't the ones that are working the hardest, right? They're the ones that are being smarter, have the right things in motion, have been laying the groundwork ahead of time, having multiple touch points kind of moving simultaneously without requiring their constant attention, because you're just one person, right? So you really want to make sure that you're thinking about how you can do that for your own brand, whether you're approaching your first market ever or this is your 15th, okay? So that's the strategy I really wanted to kind of drill in for you today. So I'd love for you to dig into this, go into your Faire portal, just get yourself adjusted or acclimated with that. Look at what they have available to you, and you'll probably be surprised that it's a lot easier than you think. It's not as overwhelming. It's literally laid out for you. They've literally written the templates for you. You don't have to do a whole lot. If you just at least get them set up now, and then you can go back and revise them later, that's totally fine. Okay. You don't want this to be a scramble at the last minute. Definitely do it now so that you're top of mind for the retailers as they are preparing for market. Okay. So if you want overall just a really solid foundation for your Faire strategy before market, not just this automations piece, but really the big picture approach to how you approach Faire and how you make it work for you, I want you to check out the Faire Success Blueprint workshop. It's totally free. It walks you through the strategy that is taught inside the Faire Bootcamp that actually moves the needle on the platform. You can watch this workshop and actually get tangible takeaways to see a difference. And it's a really good, I'll say, companion to what I was just talking through today. So I'll drop the link in the show notes for you. Or if you want, you can DM me the word blueprint on Instagram and I'll send you the link. So whatever you prefer. But that will give you that deeper view to what foundationally works on the Faire platform and how you can start to make changes right now so that you start to see results in time for Faire market in conjunction with these email automations. So this episode plus that workshop is really what you need to get things going. Okay. So go get that set up, layer this into your strategy, your workflow, getting ready for market. Go close this episode and go do it. Okay. And then when you do, come find me on Instagram at Kristen Fisher Coaching and tell me that it's live, because I love when there's a little accountability moment, because that little win counts and I'm always cheering you on. All right. I'll see you inside the next chat. Hey friend, quick question for you. Are you feeling stuck with how to get your brand to stand out on Faire? I'm asking you because as a buyer myself, I can tell you that there are just so many brands out there vying for the attention of these buyers, but I know that your brand has something so special and it needs to be seen. I put together a private podcast for you that goes deeper into what buyers are really looking for on the Faire platform and how you can stand out from the crowd to grow your wholesale business and really land those dream buyers. So if this resonates with you, head to the link in the show notes for instant access. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today. If you are loving the show, I would be so beyond grateful if you would rate and review the podcast and share it with one of your biz besties to help spread the word. I hope that you absolutely crush your sales this week. I'll be back to chat with you next Monday.